The WNBA world is in absolute turmoil after the Indiana Fever suffered one of the most controversial losses of the season against the Los Angeles Sparks. And this wasn't just any loss. Fans, analysts, and even former players are all in agreement. The referees flat out rigged this game. What was supposed to be a competitive battle turned into an officiating disaster. And nobody is more furious about it than former WNBA Coach of the Year and Indiana Fever legend, Stephanie White. Let's break this all down, because this isn't just about a few bad calls. This is about how the league is failing one of its brightest stars, Caitlin Clark, and how a team that's clawed its way back into playoff contention is being sabotaged by the very system meant to protect the integrity of the sport. From the opening tip-off, something felt off in the matchup between the Indiana Fever and the LA Sparks. The Fever came in riding momentum and confidence, with Caitlin Clark fresh off stellar performances that had media outlets buzzing. But as the game progressed, it became clear that this wasn't going to be decided purely by basketball skill. By the end of the night, the stat sheet was staggering. The Fever were called for 23 personal fouls, compared to just 11 for the Sparks. And if that wasn't enough to raise red flags, just watch the tape. Caitlin Clark was mugged in transition, pushed off her driving lanes, and hammered at the rim, yet barely got to the free throw line. In fact, the Fever only shot 9 total free throws, while the Sparks went to the charity stripe 24 times. That disparity didn't just tip the scales, it crushed them. Stephanie White's explosive reaction. Although Stephanie White is now the head coach of the Connecticut Sun, her ties to the Indiana Fever run deep. She was a former player, an assistant, and later the head coach who helped guide the team during the post-Tamika Catchings era. And when she saw what unfolded during the Fever vs. Sparks game, she didn't hold back. In an impassioned post-game interview and a string of social media posts, White expressed utter disbelief and outrage at the officiating. "This isn't just missed calls," she said. "This is a pattern. This is a problem. And the league needs to get its act together before it loses the trust of its players and fans." She wasn't alone. Other former players, including legends like Cheryl Swoops and Cappie Pondexter, also chimed in, calling the game a disgrace and saying that officiating like this takes the soul out of the game, protecting Caitlin Clark or targeting her. This isn't the first time fans have called out the league for what seems to be blatant targeting of Caitlin Clark. Ever since the NCAA's all-time leading scorer entered the WNBA, she's been on the receiving end of some of the most physical, aggressive defense the league has seen in years. And yet, time after time, referees have swallowed their whistles. She's been body-checked, elbowed, shoved to the floor, and even clotheslined. In this game alone, she was shoved mid-air during a fast break and took a hard hip check in the fourth quarter with no foul called. And while the league continues to push Clark as the face of the WNBA, using her image in promotions, commercials, and advertisements, they seem unwilling to protect her when it actually matters. On the court, Stephanie White pointed to this exact contradiction, saying, "You can't promote a player as your golden ticket and then let her get beat down without any accountability. That's not growth. That's exploitation." This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. What happened in this game reflects a much broader issue that's been brewing all season. Numerous teams, especially those with breakout stars or top rookies, have faced inconsistent refereeing, questionable technicals, and lopsided foul calls. But the Fever have seemingly drawn the short end of the stick more than anyone. Whether it's late-game no calls, phantom fouls, or bizarre ejections, Indiana's young core has had to fight not just their opponents, but the officials themselves. And Stephanie White knows exactly how damaging that can be to a team's growth. These young players, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Nalissa Smith, they're the future of this league, White said. You can't expect them to carry your product and then destroy their spirit with rigged officiating. One of the most frustrating parts of this entire saga is the WNBA's refusal to address it. No statement, no apology, no accountability, just radio silence. Despite the obvious officiating bias, the league has chosen not to release the usual last 2-minute report, which typically outlines referee mistakes and missed calls. That silence has only fueled conspiracy theories and angered the fan base even more. The WNBA has a transparency problem, and if they continue to ignore the outcry from coaches like Stephanie White, players and fans, they risk a full-blown credibility crisis. You've got the most watched rookie in history getting hacked all night with no calls, one fan wrote. This league better get it together, or it's gonna lose all the new fans Caitlin brought in. Another post read, if Caitlin Clark played for the Sparks, she'd have 15 free throws by now. This ain't basketball. It's WWE with sneakers. Even neutral fans chimed in, admitting that the game was nearly unwatchable due to the officiating inconsistencies. And when you start losing the trust of viewers who aren't even invested in one team, that's when you know you've got a serious problem. What this means for the Indiana Fever. The Fever were building serious momentum heading into this matchup. With Clark finding her rhythm, Boston holding down the paint, and solid contributions from Kelsey Mitchell and Christy Wallace, Indiana was eyeing a real shot at playoff contention. But after a loss like this, morale takes a hit. How do you prepare for a game knowing that the refs might decide the outcome more than your performance? Stephanie White spoke directly to this issue. It's demoralizing. You prepare, you scout, you game plan, and then it's all undone by someone with a whistle and a bias. That's not basketball. And she's absolutely right. The Fever are doing everything right, building through the draft, developing young talent, trusting the process. But all of that can be undone by a few bad calls, especially in tight games that matter for postseason seeding. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a moment. She's dealt with media scrutiny, constant pressure, and veteran resentment since the day she was drafted. And through it all, she's remained composed, classy, and determined. But after a game like this, where she gets pummeled and the refs do nothing, how long can she keep absorbing it? How long before frustration turns into disillusionment? Stephanie White didn't just speak up for the Indiana Fever. She spoke up for the soul of the league. She spoke for every player who's ever been cheated by bad officiating. She spoke for every fan who turned off their TV in frustration. And most importantly, she spoke for Caitlin Clark, who deserves so much more from a league that claims to champion its stars. And if the league doesn't take this moment seriously, if it continues to ignore the mounting anger and disbelief from fans, players, and coaches alike, then all the progress made this season could unravel just as fast. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more WNBA updates.